Guru Nation, welcome back to another special episode / interview. We've got, by now, everybody knows Evelyn. If you don't know Evelyn Sampolsky, I don't know what you're doing because she's on LinkedIn. You know, she's in the comments on the live stream. Matter of fact, this is why we're even doing this particular interview. She got hired already. So we documented her journey towards getting hired after CRC Academy. To this day, one of our best students ever. And we've done like 5-6 interviews. She got hired. You can watch her process the journey now. It's the next part of her journey. It's working in the space. And she just got hired, a position I've never heard of. This is like, you know, there's new stuff. You always kind of be learning new things in clinical research. Clinical triage?
Triage coordinator.
Clinical triage coordinator has nothing to do with emergency rooms.
No. So what I'm doing is screening people, which I think is a great step for me because I did interview for a CRC. But because they didn't have the experience, they didn't want to just throw me in there. So what they wanted to do was put me in a position like right above it to still have interactions with patients and still understand what our trials and all our studies is and what they need and what the exclusions are. So I felt like when she explained the position to me, I was like, you know what, that makes more sense. In order for me to want to be more successful, I need to understand what's going on. So I was like, yes, let's do that. And I love it because I'm just pre-screening everybody just to see if they even qualify to do the screening portion of the trials. Because after they do their blood work and do all these tests, it makes it more clear if they're okay to do the trial. And I know some people are not always the happiest when they have to get turned away. But at the end of the day, their safety is first. And we want to make sure that we're not putting people in a situation where it's not going to help them. And that's that's just what we want to do. So it's just a great position that I just love. And the company in itself, everybody, the CEO, my manager, my direct manager, Shayna, she is genius. Like she could do everything with her eyes closed, I bet.
Yeah.
But I'm learning so much from her, and I feel happy when I go to work. Like I'll leave like 6, 7 sometimes, and I'm completely fine with it. I don't feel like, oh, I just got to get home. I feel like, let me just get this done real quick. You know, my father told me that that's how you know that you love what you do, because you don't feel like you're working.
Right. How long have you been there? I'm looking at the website now. It's ClinCloud. And they serve the greater Orlando area with 3 sites. They do diabetes, liver, diabetic neuropathy, gastroparesis, memory loss, Parkinson's, gastro reflux, GERD, multiple sclerosis. There's a lot of stuff going on. So what is your role? You're screening people for these studies?
General, yeah. So not memory, because memory and neuro is like a whole nother beast.
Yes.
So I'm slowly getting turned into understanding a little bit more. And those tests are very the test that you have to give the patients for pre-screening is very intense and so super important. I know that's just going to be like another transition for me to be able to learn that. And then eventually they want me to do them in Spanish too, which is also just like as important, you know? So I want to make sure I get that correct. But for the most part, general medicine is what I'm doing. So I'm doing everything else that has nothing to do with neuro or like memory. My direct manager will do the memory portion, but sometimes what we'll do is, depending on if they're doing everything, I'll just do all the general medicine. And then she'll do the memory screening and stuff like that. And we'll kind of like take turns in the sense of like, oh, see if like check me, like make sure I'm doing everything correctly. And if I'm missing anything, please tell me. And then she does. And I just feel like I'm learning a lot.
Are these mostly over the phone visits? Do you meet in person with the patients ever?
In person.
Oh, in person. Okay, so you're in the office now, like all the time. You're not remote working or anything like that.
No, I'm definitely in there. I see when people are getting checked in. I'll look over their stuff, just have an idea of where they can be and where would they fall best in. And then
Wow.
after I give them more of an intense, like trying to understand their history, their medical history, and then like their medication history, any surgeries, all those things you kind of have to put together to make sure that before they go see somebody and schedule them for a specific study, that they're eligible.
Yeah, and it's I'm looking at the website now. So it's a private research site established in 2017. So this is good. It's a standalone research site, and they've looks like, and that's a pretty short amount of time. They've been able to grow pretty quickly. So must be good staff there, good PI, good sub investigators, raters. I'm pretty
Everything.
familiar with Alzheimer's studies myself. I did a lot of those memory tests. There's a lot of tests. Some of them take an hour or more to do. Others are quick, but you know, they're all important because helps you assess the severity of the memory, the impairment. So I think in like 3 months or so, you'll start doing the memory stuff, I predict. And then I think you'll be coordinator 6 months. That's
Six
what I
months.
think.
I'm
If not sooner,
hoping.
if not sooner, they must be
Yeah.
growing like crazy because I'm really connected to sites. I'm starting a new one myself. The studies are there. I
Mhm.
mean, you're gonna get the studies. If you're in business of research right now, you're gonna get the studies. So what's the variable is how many studies you can take on is not just the patients you could bring, but the people like Evelyn that you have that can do the studies,
Mhm.
right? So you're the short supply, Evelyn. You and the patients, you and the patients
Oh
are the
yeah.
short supply.
Sometimes if they don't make it to the appointment, I have to call them. So I get reasons on why they don't come. And I'm like, oh my God, are you okay? Is everything good? You say yes. And I'm
Ah,
like, well, when can we schedule you again? Like we try to make sure that we kind of get them on like the next available date. If it wasn't today, okay, that's fine. Are you okay? Is everything good? Okay, awesome. So let's go ahead and see how we can see you next time, just to make sure that we keep that person, because there was a reason why they were able to get through the door to begin with. They were interested in some kind of study, and there's people that continue to see if there's another study available. And since we have been growing so much faster, um, we just booked a lady for an OA trial, and I love OA because like I feel like,
osteoarthritis.
yeah, because I know all about the injections and what kinds of injections are out there. So it's like for me, it's like, ooh, let me put this together for you. And she was able to walk out, she was signed up for a screen. So it was great.
Give me an idea of the clinic. Are you in all three sites or are you just in one specific
I-
site?
I'm just in one. So we have one clinic that we screen, the pre-screening portion of it. And upstairs is like marketing and everything that's going on, like trying to get people through the door. And then the main clinic is where the CRCs are, where they'll do the more in-depth screening. It will take anywhere from 2 to 4 hours to make
Mhm.
sure we get everything. And then the PI is making sure that everything is being and they're okay to enter the study. And that's where we'll do our labs. I'll do a fibro screen. Oh, that's something really big, actually. I forgot. I do fibro screens too. So like I'll look at your liver and I'll see how much fatty and how much scarring is in there. And then we'll print it out and then they can keep that and they can take it to their doctor to see if we can't do anything particular about it. They already have a test that they can go with their doctor and see like, look, this is what I have, or this is my scores. Like, what do you think that we do? And I
Hmm.
think that's great because it's something that they didn't initially. A lot of people, I've never gotten my liver scanned. Like that's never
Right.
happened.
It's like an ultrasound or what is the
It's like an
uh,
ultrasound machine and it has a probe, and it does take pictures like it, but it's slightly different because it's only liver.
mhm.
So it's only taking pictures of liver. But a lot of people are like, we never gotten these screens before. Like this is so, it's crazy that I can just get this. And I'm like, well, technically insurances will not pay for this because you have to have something come up on your blood work. So if your
Right,
blood work doesn't say that you need it, you're not going to get this test.
right.
So luckily you came in today. We were able to give you this fibro scan completely free. And, here is your test. If you feel like you have any concerns or worries that we're not giving you, your doctor can go ahead and take a look at this and see what he thinks about it.
Yeah, that's actually, I'm glad you mentioned that because there's so much of that kind of stuff in research like memory is one example. We were doing some Alzheimer's studies in the past, and we would do free memory screenings. We would do glucose checks, for diabetes study. There's so much of that extra stuff that sites are able to subsidize for free, because they know that, hey, all we need is like 3 of these patients in a week, and it pays for everyone else who doesn't make the study, but they still
Right.
get the test for free, right? So
Right.
I think a lot of people misunderstand research when they think, well, that's not treatment, it's just experiments. Well, technically, yes, but you'll never get better medical attention than you
Right.
will at the right research site. There's some wrong ones, that there are some bad ones out there too.
We're not one of them.
It doesn't sound like
No.
it. Doesn't sound like it.
No, you're not wrong. That's why sometimes I like they're gonna have the Lilly study
Hmm.
coming up, and it's like the last one. I don't know if the last one. I don't want to speak too much on it because again, I'm not in the neuro department to
Yeah.
like really say, but people are walking out with MRIs of their brains to see how
Yeah.
it is.
You see?
That's insane amount of money with insurances. They get that, and even if they don't qualify, they still receive this.
Sure.
Thing else. So it's just great. I don't know. I just every time I go in there and I'm like, oh my God, what else would we do? Like all these new studies, it's so exciting to me and I just love it.
So give me a overview of the size of the clinic you work at, like how many staff, how many coordinators, where
So
do you fit into this?
they started out at 4 people. Now they have around 50.
50 people?
50. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's marketing, that's well, marketing falls into that, right? Yeah. And then triage, CRCs, the providers. I think we have like 3, 4 providers, maybe 5. I'm not 100%. We
Wow.
have nurses that are CRCs, but then we also have pharmacy, and we have a few different things. Like it's just amazing knowing how much they have been accomplished in so little time
Right.
with the people that are with them, and you can tell that people that work there are not necessarily just people that work there, they're family. And honestly, when I walked in there and I got to know everybody little by little, it's just like, wow, like this is a wonderful place. Like I feel right. And I feel like I can learn so much. So I felt like it was like a good missing puzzle for me and for them in the sense, because I knew that I can come in and with so much that I want to learn, like I'm just absorbing everything in all of it. So
Right. And they're aware that your goal is to be a coordinator.
yeah.
Good.
Yeah, Jessica will tell me that. She's like, so if you ever decide to be a coordinator, and I'm like, yeah, yes.
I've already decided, Jessica.
Yes. Jessica's amazing. I love her.
That's
But
good.
she was telling me how important my position is because it's just like the screening of like people coming through, and it could just either make or break going
Of course.
past my door. You know
Of
what I mean?
course.
So she made me feel really like important. I'm like, oh man. I was like, I guess this is important. And then it's a little bit of pressure, but it's like good pressure, you know?
Of course. You're the first gatekeeper, and you can basically say yes or no to a patient before a clinician even sees them or a provider. So that's really important role that you have there. Yeah, I'm excited for you, Evelyn. I think this is good. I think I've never heard of clinical triage, but I guess that's a new term. This goes to show you guys. Look, it's basically, there's several buckets of what you can do, but pre-screening is what Evelyn's doing now. Slowly gonna start getting into the memory screening, and then I predict she'll be coordinator in no time, because you're a MA by background, so you have all the, you can do all the things that coordinators need to do anyways. ECG, vital, draw blood. I'm sure they have phlebotomists and all that there, but it helps to have the coordinators do that as well.
Yeah, it does. It definitely does. And like I said, it's just like a stepping stone. So it's great. And that's why on the video that you were doing on Friday, I remember I was so against taking any other position besides a CRC when I first started. But you and Monica were insisting that, just get through the door. You can do it. You can do it. And I was just like, nope, this is what I want. This is what I want. And then when the position was presented to me, it made more sense to take it, not necessarily because I just wanted to get in the door, but because it legit was going to show me what I needed to do to get to where I want to be. So then I
Yes.
was like, yeah, just take it. Just take whatever it is, learn, absorb, and grow from it. Because I've seen so many people, I've heard so many people stories that they started out as an RA and now they're CRCs. Now
Of
they're running
course.
the clinic.
Yeah.
It's just insane.
It
So, but
happens
I
all the
love
time.
that.
That's more the norm than, the crazy story. Like, that's not the outlier story. That's the normal story. I'm sure your supervisor started out similar role. I started out in similar role. Research
Mhm.
assistant, my first day on the job, go buy dry ice. I mean, I was like, why did I graduate from college to go buy dry ice? But I'll do it because it gets your foot in the door. Things
Mhm.
move quickly, things happen fast. So, very happy to hear this, Evelyn. We'll have links to Evelyn's LinkedIn profile underneath, and then you can find out more information about ClinCloud, the company that she works for, in her profile. Was the CRC Academy helpful in them hiring you, or was it something they didn't really look at?
No, they asked me what trainings I had. And they asked me like what I've learned. There was another interview that I had like in between this as well, which was like the third interview. So it was like three different places that were trying to interview me around the same time. Um, it was very testy, like, so what do you do at this part and that part? Oh, I pulled out your schedule from school. So did you learn this and this and that? And I'm like, whoa, like,
Wow, they pulled it up.
yeah. And I'm like,
Good.
calm down. But it wasn't the right place for me and I felt it. So I was just like, you know what? I was like, I really like Clean Cloud. It makes me feel good. I feel right. And she even said, hey, I want you to come in so you know that it's right for you. I don't want you coming in and just saying, oh, I work here. No, I want you to know that like what it feels like. And if you feel comfortable working here and you still want to see us, then we'll move forward from there. And she was not wrong. I was like, you know what? That's a great idea. I think that's the best thing. And I did, and it was great.
Well, get ready to be busy, but it sounds like the company knows what they're doing as far as retention of staff. That's very important. That's directly related to how quickly and bit more you can grow as a company. It's very tough to retain staff. So sounds like you're in the right place. And yeah, I look forward to doing more of these with you, Evelyn. And I love
Absolutely.
I love when you come on the lives and add your comments, and you're becoming a legend in this space. So just keep it up.
Stop.
Keep it going.
All
Thank you,
right. Thank you
Evelyn.
guys so much.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share, and go follow Evelyn. What are you doing not following her? Bye bye.